So far during our time in Japan, we've explored the vibrant streets of Osaka, the traditional city of Kyoto, and now we're somewhere brand new. Welcome to Matsumoto.
Okay, we're starting off our morning here in Matsumoto at the most iconic place to visit in Matsumoto, which is Matsumoto Castle. But first we've got to pick up some breakfast, and there is only one place in Japan to do this. Well, I mean, it's pretty much 7-Eleven, isn't it? Breakfast acquired. I got this weird striped chocolate pastry thing that, to be honest, feels kind of doughy. I'm excited to try it. We've both opted for the classic caramel latte because today we cannot afford Starbucks. Even though I'm sure there's probably a Starbucks here because there was a McDonald's. And Rosh has gone for this like strawberry and whipped cream type pastry thing.
Sugar do.
Who knows, but we're excited. We can see the castle from where we're sitting, so we are super close. We're gonna eat this food here outside Family Mart because that's super classy, and then we're gonna head over to the castle.
So Matsumoto is nestled in the Alps, which means that even though it is almost June tomorrow, so heading into Japan summer, I can still see snow at the top of those mountains there in the distance. I'm not sure how well it is showing up on camera, but it's a throwback to when we were in Canmore and Banff and Jasper, that region. Obviously very different, but it's bringing back those feelings, and we really love those videos that we made in those locations, and we think that you'd love them too. So after this video, you should check out some of those videos. We'll link them up in the corner.
I've just spotted something really cool, guys. I think it's a YouTube live stream of the castle. Our, not host, but the guy who works at our hostel said that on a really like calm and not windy day, there is like a perfect reflection of the castle in the water. So I wonder if that's trying to capture that.
Yeah.
So I've just left Rosh. She's gonna send her mum the live stream and then see if she can pop her head in. I don't know. This castle is very beautiful. It's actually one of the oldest castles in Japan. I think I read that its construction finished in like the late 1500s or something like that. But it's also one of very few castles in Japan that remain in its original state, in that it's not been reconstructed or rebuilt or anything like that. This is how it was when it was originally built, which is really, really cool. And you can actually go inside the castle, I believe, all the way to the top. So we might have to do that because that would be really, really cool. But you can kind of tell from the outside, it looks a bit unpolished, not in a bad way, but because it is so old. And it is kind of remained in that original state, which is really cool. And I believe it was originally built to be like kind of a fort for battle. There is a moat going around it, and it's kind of perched up a bit higher and stuff like that. So that would kind of make sense. But it's very cool. It's our first castle here in Japan because we didn't actually visit Osaka Castle. We ran out of time. But it's very beautiful with the mountains in the background, the green trees. I think we'll have to check out the inside. Something else cool about the castle is that I think lights come on at night and they stay on until 10 p.m. And I think the castle opens at about 8:30 a.m. if I'm not wrong, so you've really got all day to come and visit. And like I said before, the reflection of the castle on the water, if it's super still, is meant to be incredible. So I mean, if we have time, we'd love to come back and see it at night with the lights on, but it'll just depend on time. But even just today, it's just really beautiful.
There's this really old red bridge here now. I don't think you've been able to walk across it for a while because I can see like greenery growing through it, so probably a bit unsafe to walk on. But it does create a really nice spot for some pictures with the red bridge in the foreground and then the massive Matsumoto Castle in the background. Throughout Japan, at various different sites and maybe even train stations, I believe, you can get stamps. What a lot of people do is buy a notebook and they get a stamp from each place they've been to. We were not prepared, surprise, surprise, but you can get the stamps here, and they suggest that you can put it on the back of your ticket, so we're still able to get the stamps. And I just think it is such a cool, like, free thing that Japan offers as a nice memento of your trip to Japan. Matsumoto Castle. So entrance into Matsumoto Castle costs 700 yen, which is about $7 Australian. Pretty affordable. We're about to make our way inside now. So each level of the castle has various different types of windows used as defense mechanisms. So there are ones called yasma, which were for firing of arrows and then eventually guns. And then there's another one called Ishio Toshi. Now I think this is only on the first floor, but this is for literally just dropping rocks on people trying to scale the castle. So they've got these like little slips, I suppose, in the side of the building that can, I think, open up and then they can drop rocks down. And we have made it up to the top level, level 6, and guys, there are some amazing, incredible views from the top of this castle. Looking out onto the mountainscape with the snow top tips, it's taking my breath away.
Well, that was absolutely beautiful and 100% worth going inside. Very cool, very steep stairs. You do take your shoes off on the way in. They give you a nice plastic bag to put them in. So it's very clean. I think the floors looked like they might be the original floors, maybe slightly restored. But I imagine that's why you can't wear your shoes. But some of the stairs, the steepest ones, were 40 centimeters in height. So they were really big stairs, very steep. But we saw people of all ages doing those stairs. We saw some younger people, we saw some more elderly people. We saw a family carrying up their toddler up these really steep stairs. So definitely really cool up the top, and magnificent views at Matsumoto, particularly on one side. I think it was the westerly side, with views of the mountains in the background as well. It was so beautiful. Just a note, on the inside you can't film in and around the stairs area. I didn't say why, but we're guessing it's because of the height and the incline of the stairs, so people don't film up other people's shorts or skirts or anything weird like that, which is very clever. Like, that's such a basic thing to think to do.
I also think it would have been quite unsafe because they were so steep.
Definitely. But that's why we have no footage to show you said steep stairs that we keep harping on about.
Your imagination, or maybe I can make a little Rosh animation. Wow, these are some big stairs.
Something cool as well here at the castle we've just noticed as we're leaving is that there are volunteer guides that will give you a free tour around the castle. I believe in English, and maybe at the moment they've got Portuguese and French as well, which is really cool. So if you are wanting a bit more information, there are some guides that will take you around. The sign as well for the free castle tours also says it's free, obviously, and it says no tips accepted. So tipping is generally not a thing here in Japan. I think it's kind of rude. Not sure if it's rude or it's just really not a thing. And the sign says no tips accepted. So it really, truly is just a free guided tour because they're not lovely and want to show you around the castle.
But it does say smiles. Okay.
We're now making our way to Nawate Dori, which is like a shopping street here in Matsumoto. It's about a 400-meter walk from the castle. That's something that is super handy here in Matsumoto, is a lot of the sites are walking distance from one another. It's making our way there now. It is also known as Frog Street because of its location near a river that used to contain a lot of frogs, and frogs are a symbol of prosperity in Japan.
Does that mean,
or in the world? I don't know, maybe just Japan.
Does it not have a lot of frogs anymore?
I'm not sure, but there are...
I was expecting to go to this street with like hundreds of frogs.
No, there are symbols of frogs everywhere, so there'll be a lot of frog statues and frog souvenirs and stuff like that from what I've read. But there's also meant to be some cool food and stuff, so hopefully it'll be pretty cool to check out.
It is nearing 12:30 here in Matsumoto, so we're going to pick up some snacks. First one is Taiyaki, which, believe it or not, we haven't had yet while we've been in Japan, despite doing a makeshift street food tour in Osaka, which you should watch if you haven't watched it already. We'll link that in the description below. But we're picking up some custard cream Taiyaki to begin our food journey in Matsumoto.
So I think there was a chocolate flavour, a custard, which is what we went with, red bean and sausage.
Is it warm?
That is really good. The custard is so nice and warm. I wasn't sure what to expect of the outside. It's kind of like a chewy wafer, I would say, but the custard is so creamy and delicious. This was a good choice. I'd be very interested to try the sausage version because this is obviously sweet, and see what a savoury one's like, but there'll be plenty of other things we've got to try, so.
Guys, something that has really surprised me about Matsumoto is how quiet it is. Every street that we've walked down, whether it be immediately after coming out of the train station in the like real city type area, or even just here now, it's so quiet. And I don't know why. Because yes, I mean, maybe it's not as visited as the massive cities in Japan, but it's still a pretty well-known place to come. We were saying when we arrived, it immediately just felt like a little village or town in the Alps. It's just got that feeling about it. You can imagine in the winter this is a place to visit to set yourself up nestled in the Alps.
We now wandered across the river to Nakamachi Dori, which is another kind of shopping cafe type street, but it has a lot of these traditional style storehouses which are called Kura, which you'll notice because they've got like the crisscross pattern in the front of them.
Now, it wouldn't be a day in Japan without stopping off in a book off, because that stasis rule, if you've seen
It's my favourite store in the world.
If you've seen any of our previous Japan videos, we often visit Book Off. It's like a big kind of second-hand type store. Not everything second-hand, but it has a lot of trading cards, video games, much of which Stacey spent most, if not all, of her money. Is that fair to say?
Maybe not. No comment.
But it is a very cool shop. We are now making our way to pick up some lunch. We're walking through the Yohashira Jinja Shrine, which is this nice little shrine hidden away. It's actually where we walked through last night to our hostel, which we'll show you very soon. But if you can hear screaming in the background, it's because these girls are feeding the pigeons and the pigeons are kind of like attacking them. So that's what that is. For dinner tonight, we have come to a place called Soba-Dokoro Kippo. It's a pretty small restaurant, very local feel to it. I believe it's run by just a husband and wife, and that almost every night they sell out of noodles. So we've come fairly early because we wanted to get the soba noodles because that is what this area is known for.
In fact, when we sat down, we were the only people in here, and as soon as we sat down, they put a sign on the door saying reservations only, so they must be expecting quite a few people in. Like Rosh said, it's obviously soba noodles, very famous Japanese food, but it is apparently extra good here in the Nagano prefecture, which is where Matsumoto is. Apparently it's where it like originated. So if we're gonna have soba noodles for the first time, it's the place to do it. So we've ordered two main types of ways to eat soba noodles. There are your cold soba noodles, which you dip into dipping sauces, and then you have hot soba noodles in broths. We've gone one of each to give it a go. Apparently the duck soba noodles are very good here. We've not gone for that, but apparently that's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's strange that it's cold. I don't think I've ever had cold noodles, but I know it's a thing. But the sauce is really nice. It's pretty good. It's so simple, but like really cool.
First of all, can we just take a moment to respect this cool wooden spoon ladle? The broth is really nice, but it's like a flavour I've never really tasted before. It's funny because I kind of came in expecting it to taste a little bit like ramen. It doesn't taste anything like ramen. It's totally like it's its own dish. I like it.
Well, that was absolutely delicious. What a great first experience having soba noodles. We always say if the place is full of locals, it's always a good sign, and we were the only tourists in that restaurant, so it's always a great sign of a really good place, really good authentic place, and it was absolutely delicious, so we were very happy with that choice.
And it was funny because you preferred the cold ones and I preferred the hot ones, so we're both happy.
Didn't expect to like the cold ones, but I really liked the dipping sauce, whereas your broth was quite oniony, which was good in a small dose, but it's so delicious.
Very nice. And if you're Japanese and happen to be watching this video, let me know if I correctly told the owner that it was delicious. I said, "Sore wa oishi." She laughed,
but she said thank you.
More than what she should have. But then she said thank you, so she got what I was trying to say.
Now that we've eaten, it's time to show you our really awesome hostel.
While we're in Matsumoto, we're basing ourselves in this traditional Japanese Ryōkin that's over 100 years old. We've been to Japan before, as we've mentioned in previous videos, but we've never actually stayed in a traditional house or Ryōkin before. This is definitely totally different to what we've ever experienced, but it is so cool to be in this house. Do you come here often? Oh, I'm actually taken. This is the shared space downstairs. It is so old school, so traditional. We're just sitting here doing a bit of work at the little table on the tatami mats. But look at this is really cool. Underneath the table, it's got like a little dugout for your legs, so you're not having to sit cross-legged. What are you doing, Stace?
Oh, nothing.
Are you Googling us?
No. I found us. first page.
We are loving this accommodation so far. It's definitely got that traditional Ryōkin feel to it without that really expensive price that often comes with Ryōkins. So if you're coming to Matsumoto, definitely look this place up. I know that hostels, sometimes people can be put off at the thought of shared bathrooms, but they're so clean. And once you're in your little room, you feel like you got the whole place to yourself.
We have come on our day trip here today to Narai. It's a small town. It took about 40 minutes on the train from Matsumoto. There are a lot of different day trips you can do from Matsumoto, and we had about 3 different options, but we ended up going with this one. We picked Narai, which is this small town. It's actually somewhere where you can come if you want to trek on the Nakasendo Trail, which we'll talk a little bit more about later. But it's pretty beautiful so far.
Look!
And we've only just entered.
Look at the buildings!
I know.
Turn the camera around to show our viewers.
How pretty is that? We're about to walk into.
Excuse me, sir. I request that you stop looking at me with those googly eyes.
So apparently this thing called an orokushi is like the local souvenir for this town. Kind of like a comb, but this sign explains that like a comb is more than a comb, essentially.
I think this is just an oversized one
Yeah,
for
there are
demonstration.
smaller ones inside.
It is so quiet here. Reading online about Narai, apparently in recent years it's becoming a lot more popular to visit by tourists, but you wouldn't know that today. It's so quiet. You're really nestled in the mountains. It's cooler in temperature than it was in Matsumoto, just a little bit, but quiet, peaceful, and amazing to be looking and walking through these buildings, some of which were built in the 1600s. So very traditional. Fun fact is a lot of them, the second floor comes out further than the first floor. I don't know why. Let me know in the comments if you know why that is.
Soft serve is just everywhere in Japan. It's amazing. They look pretty good. And this place had so many different flavours. I've gone for caramel, Rush has gone for the matcha vanilla swirl. It's not a hot day, but the sun is out. But it's always soft serve time no matter the weather, so.
I have to say, if you like matcha but you don't love matcha, getting a matcha and vanilla swirl is the way to go. It's so yum.
Do you want to try mine?
Yeah. Oh, come on. That's good though.
This place is so beautiful. We're surrounded by the coolest trees. I mean, some of these trees are so big. Plus behind me here, there are heaps of them. It's hard to see on the video, but it's really giving me Twilight vibes.
And then close your eyes.
Just spectacular. And then there are a few shrines which are really cool. Like this dark coloured one behind me has a really cool roof. It kind of has like a curve to the sides of it. It's really cool and really special, and it's just so quiet here, which is really adding to the atmosphere. We've kind of walked, I think, to the end of the main strip of the town now. So we're saying main strip, I think that's the town. But we are thinking of making our way possibly to the start of the Nakasendo Trail and walking a little bit of it and then walking back. We're actually thinking today of taking the train to a different town. I think it was Yubahara. I'll put it on the screen. And then walking from there along the Nakasendo Trail to here in Narai, which I believe takes about 3 hours. It's about 8.5 kilometers. We opted not to do it, but that's definitely something I think on our list for next time we come to Japan. It's meant to be incredibly beautiful, just peaceful, and just like this town, just so beautiful.
The real reason we didn't do the hike was because I was afraid that we'd see bears.
I was trying to be nice.
Don't know if that's a realistic fear.
I think it is. I've read particularly this portion of the Nakasendo Trail between those two towns. It's called the Torri Pass, and I think there are bells along the trail, which every time you pass a bell, you ring the bell just to let any bears know that you are around.
The last time we were in bear territory was when we were in Canada with my uncle, and I have to say I feel like that's the only situation where I kind of feel safe around bears. So yeah. Uncle Paul, can you please come on our next Japan trip and we can do this hike together?
So if you are planning to come to Narai for a bit of a day trip, there's not heaps to do. It is quite a small town, but there are a lot of soba noodle places. There are some tea houses, some places to get a soft serve. Like I said, if you did want to walk part of the Nakasendo Trail, you can do that as well. A heap of different souvenir shops. A lot of them have like some traditional wooden carved like bowls, chopsticks, really nice things like that, some teacups. So things like that to look for. Not a lot to do, but a beautiful place to spend a couple hours, and especially being so close to Matsumoto, it's a perfect place to come for the day if you are looking to see a bit more of this region. We weren't sure if we'd come back at night, but we decided it was the perfect place to finish off our time here in Matsumoto. The castle is all lit up. We've watched the sun go down. It's very beautiful. There are these like standing lanterns everywhere. Obviously the lights on the castle. There was a very pretty sunset, which we missed kind of the best part of it, unfortunately. But the reflection of the castle in the water and the sun setting, reflecting on the water was so beautiful. Definitely worth walking back here to see it at night, and like I said, perfect place to finish off our time here in Matsumoto.
And that's all for our time in Matsumoto. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you in Tokyo next week, but for now, YouTube thinks that you should watch this video next.